Okay. All right. Are we back on? Okay. All right. So we're back, and we've got some awesome artists here. But first, we're going to draw two more names to get some cool EQ2 swag. We're going to be giving away this awesome EQ2 leather-bound journal, and we've also got this EQ2 atlas. So it's fine. It's
Okay.
in mint condition. It's collectible. Yeah. Okay, we'll have Linda sign it. Oh, that's awesome. So Linda Brass Carlson apparently worked on this EQ2 Atlas. So that's awesome. Yes, there's a camera right there.
But we didn't actually tell her that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, she doesn't know yet, but we'll give her some beer and she'll pretty much do it. Okay, so
Wow. Is that all it takes?
yes, I mean, that's the way I understood it. All right, so you want to draw a name for me?
Dun.
All right, so
Pretty Pyro.
Pretty Pyro. All right, so
You win a
EQ2
book.
journal. I have that. All right, and we're gonna sort of try to mix these up a little bit. Again. Oh, that's me just falling around. No, hey,
Oops.
I just dropped them.
That person doesn't get a prize.
Okay.
Tom Tobey.
No, I don't think your name was on there. Okay, so, this is Neurati Fist. Gets the EQ2 Atlas. So congratulations, people. Woohoo! Okay, so as I said, we've got some artists here. I'm going to go ahead and have them each introduce themselves and tell you guys a bit about what they do.
I'm Tom Tobey, animator in EQ2, and
We'll pass around. All right. Okay. Hi, I'm Dave Brown, Kovic on the forums, lead character artist on EQ2.
Name's Tim Heydelaadar, art director for EQ2, Haumaru on the forums. Haumaru. From Samurai Showdown. If you're cool, you'd know that.
uncool.
Okay, so first we're going to have some questions about, about the art that went into the Freeport Revamp, which is GU62. And then I believe Tim has some awesome things he wants to share with us.
Not that awesome.
They're awesome. He's assured me that they're awesome. Okay, so first, what's changed and what's stayed the same in Freeport?
Go for it, Tom.
I've run around. It's you that
Yeah, you changed the most.
Excuse me. Yeah, we kind of redid everything in the zone, in case you haven't noticed. Have they noticed yet? Soon. Maybe some people have seen it in the beta. We used the Freeport that existed as a template and rebuilt it, literally from the ground up. We originally were going to be a little less ambitious, and as we got into it, basically rebuilt every last thing in there and reshaded it to match the theme that we wanted to go for with Lugan's return and his bid for power, and making sure that anyone who wanted to be aligned with the city was now proud of the city instead of kind of the dirty, dingy, death, decay everywhere a state that was in before. Yeah? All right.
Yeah, we changed the. I got talking. Yeah, we changed a lot of the character stuff too to match up this stuff that Tim and his team were doing on environments. We updated, some of the knights. We put those guys in there. Lucan.
badass now.
Yeah, we had to make sure he was as cool as his guys that he's running around with. And then, we even made changes some of you guys may have not seen yet, because I was working on armor sets, just last week, and changing stuff. So, there's going to be even more updates from what you may have seen on beta. So, yeah, we really did a lot on that zone.
Why were these changes made?
Because we like to make cool stuff. That's why we did. We wanted to look cool. We're artists, and we want to be proud of the work that we make. And when we run around in that zone, we want it to feel like there's some cohesiveness for the environments, for the characters. We try to work on things that we wanted. We worked really close with the environment team this time to make sure, hey, these textures are part of the buildings. Okay, well, this is what they got to use to make their uniforms. We want that immersion, so when people go into the zone, they feel like, okay, this is a real place. These guys probably made this from the ore that's from those mountains there, or they grab this stuff from the trees.
Too. We have a lot of new assets that,
Give you that.
you walk around some of these old zones and everyone's just walking around these old dippy characters. We've got these new You know, we got the horse, the batwing horses that the characters are all riding around now too. So it gives it a real updated feel on what we're doing because we think the stuff that we're doing now is way better than it was 5 years ago. Sorry. So,
And you animated the horses.
yeah, and Chris Myers did some stuff too.
I can kind of add to that.
Add some more.
So there was also a story that needed to be wrapped up. Obviously, Lucan had disappeared, and he wasn't just going to return and pop his citadel back up in the sky and go, "Yay, cool!" So we scoped out what it is we wanted to do to really make that return something important. Particularly since Freeport's been in ruins for quite a while now. So obviously, aside from giving it a new look, we also want to just improve the experience. It's now zoneless. It was built that way from the beginning, but back at when it was originally built, it simply wouldn't run. So we were glad we could finally see Freeport as we originally envisioned it, because some of those things that we added to circumvent or give that solid feel in the original were those silly little tunnels to connect each of the districts, and it just wasn't what we wanted to do, but it was necessary then, and it was great to get rid of it and really make Freeport kind of what it kind of should have been.
Okay, and how about each of you explain to the players what your favorite visual revamp has been? Like what part of the visual revamp is your favorite?
There's a really cool scene with Lucan that happens. I don't know how often it happens, but he walks in, comes out, and there's all this fanfare, and he starts dropping all his enemies into this whirling pit of blades and flame, and it's really fun because we can do a lot of stuff. Like he can come out and do his thing. I was joking around. We'll have him come out wearing a towel sometimes, or so it should be. It's a lot of fun. It has a real Disney ride feel to it.
I gotta say, yeah, my favorite part. I did the model for Lucan. He wasn't on our schedule, but then I looked at the old Lucan. I'm like, hey, you know what? We need a new Lucan model. So I redid that. Z-brushed him out, new armor, all that, and he was the favorite part that I had worked as the Freeport revamp.
Aside from the zone itself, I agree with Tom. What happens in the Executioner's Plaza is pretty cool. It's nice to be able to spend time on something like that and make it something you remember and want to catch again. It's cool.
You want to hang out and see it?
Yeah.
Okay, and what animations have you brought into the game? I heard something about alligators and wolves. Had something changed?
A lot of the new monsters you can tame.
Yeah, it's for the Beast Lord stuff.
Beast Lord stuff. The alligators just weren't working out well, so they said, can we update some of this stuff? So we've been taking a lot of the old NPCs, and the new alligators are biting better, attacking better. We've done it with bears. We kind of went through and looked at some of the old NPCs, and we're like, oh, that guy's terrible. And we've just been giving them a facelift and updated them.
Okay, cool. And then we'll bring it over to Tim, who has some really awesome things he wants to share with us. Here you go.
Awesome.
I apologize now if these are not awesome. But I remember them, and I don't know if word ever got out about them, so I wanted to share a little bit of Freeport history from what I remember. I was part of a two-man crew who built the original Freeport. Then there was one person who did the objects. It was a fun time back then, but that was actually the second time Freeport was being built. Some of you may have seen very, very early screenshots of the original Freeport. It looked like a desert casino. It was pretty bad. It was loud, very noisy, and when Kinos was under production, it was looking so much better and basically cast this terrible shadow on Freeport. So we basically rebuilt Freeport the first time before we launched. So this makes the third time Freeport's been built. Fact number one. That was awesome. The Executioner's Plaza, that pit actually used to kill people instead of port them to common lands, but visually we didn't ever represent well what happens if you jump in the pit, and too many people were trying to jump in the pit to see what would happen, and if you didn't trigger the volume to get kicked out to common lands, you'd be stuck in the pit. So ultimately...
I was stuck in beta.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We decided, instead of just killing people, we would port them to common lands. That made me sad, but we didn't have the whirling blades of death and everything else going on that we have now, so if you jump in, it's your own fault. When we were coming up with ideas for the Citadel and trying to convey Lucan's, overlord persona of watching the city, one of the ideas we actually tried briefly was on the base of the Citadel. I've told you this story. We stuck a giant eyeball just as a test, and it tracked your every movement and literally felt like it was watching you no matter where you walked in the city. We were just, again, trying some ideas to see how we wanted to finish the base of that Citadel, and it was so unnerving and felt so wrong to be stared at constantly. We quickly removed it and went with the bottom of the Citadel you see now.
I still want it.
Yeah, it's... and then there's that gnomish gear. Really never had a purpose. I think it became a landmark. But originally, that gear that's on that pedestal was meant to be kind of a trophy for people who invaded Freeport. And Kinos was supposed to have something similar. It was meant to encourage kind of city versus city PvP, where you would try and run in there, grab it, and get out. But the idea never came to fruition. So ultimately, it was just kind of left in there and, lore built around it by itself. Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty awesome.
It's cool.
Okay, and now we're going to open it up to player questions. If you guys have anything for the artists, and it looks like we have a few. So, Dune Rebel asks, will we ever be able to fly in Freeport?
I'll take that one. All right, so I'm going to throw Smoke Jumper under the bus on this one. In an article a long time ago, he kind of said Freeport would be flyable. I was adamant that Freeport would never be flyable. Something happened in communication there, and once I read that article, oh yeah, he knows. Once I read that article, I quickly got up in his face, and he assured me it would all be taken care of. Sadly, while we could technically make it flyable, it simply would not run. It is just too much stuff in an area to render on anyone's computer. And then we'd have to do the same probably for Kinos and some of the other cities. And it's unfortunately just not feasible. We'd love to, but performance and gameplay are definitely too important in this regard to do it.
So that means as of now we're not. But
As of now, yeah. Maybe, I don't know, in a couple of years.
yeah,
And never say no.
Never say no.
All right, thank you. Antraniv asks, what drove the decision to make Freeport flashy evil?
Well, if you see what Freeport looked like before, it was kind of the opposite. In terms of wanting to go there and stay there, it was, pretty drab. When we were thinking about what we wanted to do to instill that sense of power and literally do a complete makeover, we didn't want to just polish up, remove the dirt, which was a common suggestion, just kind of clean it up, literally whip out the brooms, sweep it aside, and hey, Freeport's cooler now. No, we wanted you to, from common lands, look at the city and go, what the hell? And what the heck? So we decided on kind of those power colors, a lot of darker tones, golds. We also knew what we wanted to do with Lucan and, make his city a showpiece, get people in there. And we weren't going to do that by sticking around with the dirts and the rusts and the grays and the browns. So, we took a chance, and I think it turned out great.
Thank you. All right.
That's a good one. When are Othmere playable?
Do you want to... Okay. Juan Joe 22 asks, how long did it take?
I'll answer his own part, then pass it to you guys for Chris. We started concepting ideas, I want to say, in about March. Before that, we had done some tests internally just to see if it would perform by removing the zone boundaries. And then we got to work on the art in March, tried a couple ideas, iterated to find our look. And then basically since then have been working on it nonstop. About 2 months ago, we started on a lot of the object work, and then a lot of design requests to sell the new story. Branched down into the hoods to put some of the new things that design wanted in there too. So I'd say 7-ish months for the environment.
For us, I mean, for you guys, that sounds about right. For us, I can't even remember how much time it took. All I know is we were working on it the whole time, and as things would come up, it was never like a plan like, oh, we're only doing this and then we'll be done. It was kind of like as we're building stuff and as environment gets stuff done, we will come up with more stuff and make new things. What?
Somebody put a help us.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so we've been working on it the whole time. And we were working on it till last week.
We make them look like, oh, look at the cool guys.
Because we have fun. We get to make cool art. That's our job.
Sorry, the nerds aren't here.
So I placed a crate and made you collect 5 of them, along with the rats that needed disposing.
65 right now, so.
Yeah, we try to work as far as we can ahead, and we're always, we're 63, 64, 65. We're just cranking out stuff as fast as we can. So it all kinds of starts to blend together as we're working on future assets. We're working on Freeport. We do it all at once. So to lock down a time, how long it took us, it was just during this past year. As we needed stuff, we made it happen.
Zordar asks, will Freeport maintain its evil look?
You want to rebuild it again?
There will be no 4th time.
Okay, no 4th time. Okay. Are there any areas, Elizara asks, are there any areas that keep the old Freeport look?
I think sort of shape and design-wise.
Yeah, all the shapes are familiar. We really didn't change a lot of the silhouettes. And when we did, we actually tried really hard to keep the original influence. Even the tower tops still have 4 prongs, all kind of the same direction. The Citadel's very much the same. Even the arena it's all just kind of revamped. Our goal wasn't to completely change every aspect of it so it didn't feel familiar, because I don't think anyone wanted that, but really just to polish up what we knew needed fixing. So I hope we kept that familiarity to it. Some things didn't really change much at all, like the Arcane Science building and the Temple of War, other than some slight cleanup, are very much the same. Same with the Jade Tiger. A lot of the things are kind of the same. We just got rid of what was not cool.
So, Pandys asks, T. Tobey, will you marry me?
I think Andrea might have a problem with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. He appears to be taken. Astenial asks, will Freeport be instanced now like Hallis?
I'm not sure. I guess that depends on if there's a player cap. I'm not sure. I guess that depends on if there's a player cap where after a certain amount of people it spins up a new one. I mean, it's an instance in and of itself. It's just 1 instead of 4 now.
2 more questions left. Darion asks, what influenced the design of Freeport?
Why?
Nothing really in particular. Like I said, Freeport had a foundation, and we just wanted to make it better. So a lot of that influence is very much still there. We didn't want to, start driving left and make it something that no one recognized. We just wanted to make it better. So we started with what we thought was the biggest visual feature of the zone, which quite frankly is the retaining walls, because it's so much a part of the zone, and figured out a way to polish those up, add a lot of iconic Lucan imagery, and then started to propagate that inward to most of the buildings that needed it. Really didn't touch up things that didn't, and tried to delete as little as possible, really.
We looked at the zones quite a bit for your characters too.
I think as far as like influence of what we did for Freeport, that was design, art. Everybody, it was like a constant talk that everybody would have, and everybody would put in their ideas. And we had a basic theme that we wanted to make this the evil place. These are where, it's not if you're a good person, you're going to go in there and get wiped out, and these people are doing evil things. But we also wanted to have it from a point of kind of, if you are the evil, you don't feel you're evil. You're doing the quests and the things that they are as though you're the greater good. Like you're above everybody else. And that's what we were trying to achieve. From the outside, from like a good side, you're like, oh, those people are evil. But from the Freeport side, it's kind of like the governing body that's like, no, we are doing what we're doing because this is what's best, even though it is kind of what they're doing is not good. So that was our kind of basic theme, and we just kept on going through different ideas of of what we could do to achieve that.
Nice one.
Okay. Vicia from the Bazaar asks, will we be seeing any options for floor or walls coming to Freeport soon?
Floor or walls?
Probably not at least in the short term. The original housing system is like a Pandora's box, which is why you really haven't seen it carried forward. It's mind-numbing how difficult it is to work in. And even when we added the additional room a year or two ago, it was a nightmare making sure that system still worked after it. I know it's something we'd like to do. We certainly see you guys asking for it. It's just a matter of where it falls into the schedule, if we can dedicate resources to it against everything else we're working on.
All right, and last question that maybe you guys will understand more than I do. Mixit asks, bring back Dwarf roll from EQ.
That's got me stumped. That's a...
EverQuest 1, when the dwarf jumps, he does a spinning roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll get right on that one.
All right, so thank you guys very much for your time. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to hop into the random dev discussion.
See you later.
Peace.